So the Nintendo Direct madness is continuing to ensue. Literally all day, Nintendo of America has been tweeting out every single announcement and trailer other than a Nintendo Direct, which is what everybody is on high alert for. You can see immediately in all of the replies, it's where is the Direct? Where is the Direct? Everybody's freaking out, thinking we're not getting anything. And that's where we have to kind of set the record straight, because we are talking about the prospect, likely at this point in time, that it is indeed a mini partner showcase. If you were somebody who was holding out hope for a mainline traditional Direct, we talked about in the most recent Direct video on the channel that I was starting to shift my expectations towards a mini partner showcase, because the sources, Nate the Hate and Necro Felipe, both stating that they are hearing it's a mini partner showcase and not a traditional mainline Direct, and that was enough for me to go off of. Well, now there's a bunch of confusion and people saying that we're not even going to get that. And listen, I'm not here to say that these people can't be wrong, because they absolutely can, but I also think that we have a decent shot of seeing this shadow drop announced or announced later in the day. At the time of filming, it is 1 p.m. Central Time, that's 2 p.m. Eastern Time, or 11 a.m. Pacific Time, and we have had literally hourly tweets from Nintendo of America, none of them consisting of the Nintendo Direct. And of course, like I mentioned, all the replies in these things are where is the Nintendo Direct. So I think we do need to let go of the possibility of this being a mainline Direct, because we would have likely had confirmation by now if it was. But I do think that the probability of a mini partner showcase being shadow dropped tomorrow or announced later this afternoon is still very much on the table. And in fact, the rest of this video is going to be me predicting what we may indeed see at that event, assuming that we do get the official announcement later this afternoon or potentially shadow dropped at some point tomorrow, keeping in mind the fact that it could go live at any time with just an uploaded video. It's not going to say tune in at a specific time. It could literally say, here's our latest mini partner Direct featuring games, roughly 25 minutes for Nintendo Switch games coming out early 2024. That's entirely possible, and it could be at any time of day. Nintendo is definitely going off script here in 2024 amongst all the rumors flying around rampantly online that they are likely gearing up for new hardware, potentially for a reveal as soon as March. And even Necro Felipe has been spotted online replying to tweets and tweeting out himself saying that, you know, essentially don't be let down, don't be fooled by the fact that Nintendo hasn't revealed this thing yet. There is still a solid chance that he is not backing down from his previous claims, because he knows something's around the corner. I'm not going to claim he's had a flawless track record, but in everything that I can see so far, he's been extremely accurate, and we do at least have this piece of information to go off of. We still have until tomorrow to have anything confirmed on whether or not we're getting this showcase. And remember, it's not out of character for Nintendo to just shadow drop these smaller mini partner showcases. But assuming we do get that announcement in terms of what we might see at the showcase, you have to first have the conversation as a Nintendo fan that with it being a mini partner showcase, there's legitimately no first party Nintendo content. So remember that. Don't go in expecting anything Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, you name it. It's not going to be here. We're going to now have to shift our sights towards June or the summertime Direct, whatever Nintendo decides to throw at us for that time frame, and that's whenever we might be able to talk about those type of franchises. So the interesting thing about a partner Direct is that there's a lot more wildcard conversations to be had, because the entire presentation is going to be focused around entirely those third-party games. So the first company in question that I'm really curious as far as how big of a presence they will have at this event is Microsoft, because we do know that the Xbox Business Podcast, yes, that sounds strange to say, but they are doing essentially the same day a massive update around communicating with their fans what the direction of Xbox is from here. Tom Warren is writing up articles saying Xbox everywhere and kind of insinuating that they might not only be going multi-platform like all of the rumors have suggested, but they might actually be rebranding Xbox to something like Xbox everywhere. We're going to have to wait and see for all that. But I do think that a number of first-party Xbox developed games are now in the conversation to head to Nintendo hardware. And what I will be curious to see is how much of them show up for the current Switch that we have today, and how much may indeed be saved for that Nintendo Switch 2 that is looking more and more likely for a March reveal. Keep in mind, one first-party Xbox game that I am absolutely expecting to see at this event is Hi-Fi Rush. You've probably seen all of the rumors, leaks, and data mines around the game at this point. It's all but confirmed to be heading to other platforms, and I think it shows up at this event hands down. That's the safe bet. What I'm curious about is whether or not we might get some kind of title screen, splash screen for something Call of Duty for Microsoft. I think it's a little bit early early for that personally, but we do know that following the Activision Blizzard merger that there is a legal binding 10-year agreement from Microsoft to Nintendo to support the Call of Duty franchise on Nintendo consoles for the next 10 years. And Microsoft did specifically say that they believe they could get Call of Duty running on the current Switch we have today as part of the court proceedings with the FTC. So will we see a version of Call of Duty? Maybe it's more akin to Call of Duty Mobile, but optimized for the Nintendo Switch. Could we see something like that announced here and given a 2024 release date? It is entirely in the realm of possibility, but again, I still feel like it's a little bit early for this one. I am expecting by the time we see Nintendo Switch 2 revealed and announced and we get all of the marketing hype for that trailer, that we will likely have some promotional plugs for what's next for Call of Duty, and it will no doubt be headed to that platform. But then I also wonder how broad Microsoft will go with some of their classic IP that is playable right now on Xbox Game Pass. Would they entertain the idea of bringing something like the Gears of War franchise from its heyday in the 360 era over to Nintendo Switch? That's maybe a possibility of where they might want to go with some of their backlog of successful franchises and bring them to Nintendo hardware. It's in that conversation depending on what we see Xbox communicate with their fan base. So it'll be really interesting to see how Xbox shows up at this Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, because I have been in the mindset that it's suspicious timing for Xbox to choose to hold their podcast on the same day as the Direct presentation was rumored to be. So is Xbox here in a big way and they plan that out specifically for this? It's on the table as well. Now I also think we'll get a look at Sonic X Shadow Generations. Of course, we just saw this at the Sony State of Play with a nice little reveal trailer, but we know in Nintendo Directs in the past, we see sometimes different footage, especially the Nintendo Switch version specifically for upcoming Sonic game releases, and a little bit different look at what's going on within the game. Maybe we get a deeper dive into some of the Shadow content. Maybe we just get more of a mashup trailer of some of the classic memories of Sonic Generations, but I'm ready for this game to release. It's out later this year, and I do think it will show up at this presentation. Now, I am also hopeful we might get some love from Rockstar towards Nintendo consoles. We know Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy, the definitive edition, is playable on Nintendo Switch, but I wonder if we would finally ever see a version of Grand Theft Auto 5 ported over to the Switch. I don't necessarily think that's in the cards, but it's one of my more wild card predictions that I would really love to see happen, just to have it playable. I know it's been re-released over the years, and we're still waiting on GTA 6 until 2025, or now there's even rumors it might slide into 2026 for its release, but will GTA 6 even come to Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever it's called? We'll have to wait and see for that, so maybe give us 5 playable. I think that would be a nice option. And then I also really hope that the rumors around Red Dead Redemption 2 potentially having a Switch version in the works end up being true, because it's one of those rumors that popped up, then it seemed to be a little bit discredited. There was a ratings board citing, but apparently it was actually an error on the website's part. We'll have to see if we ever see Red Dead Redemption 2 make it to the Switch or Switch 2, but I do think that that's another perfect title that's in the realm of possibility, considering that we saw Red Dead Redemption 1 ported to the Switch and GTA 5's on the table, considering that we got the definitive edition of the GTA trilogy ported to the Switch. So will we see some love from Rockstar at this event? It's entirely possible. Bandai Namco and From Software, I'm looking at you next. I hope we get the missing Dark Souls games ported to Nintendo Switch also. I think Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is the more likely game to potentially come over, and we did have that in the rumor mill conversation around the same time that the Batman Arkham games were being rumored. Well, we have the Batman Arkham games brought over now, and that's done. We have yet to see Dark Souls 2 release. Maybe Dark Souls 1 Remastered hasn't really sold up to expectations. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I would hope that at some point in time we get the rest of the Dark Souls trilogy playable on Nintendo Switch. And 3 is a big question mark for that, because definitely the game is more visually impressive and really developed with that PS4 and Xbox One level console performance in mind. Not saying it can't have a version playable on the Switch, but they would definitely have to do more work to it, more than likely, to get it running effectively on the base Switch. So maybe that one is saved for next gen hardware, but we at least get a lead up for Dark Souls fans out there to start getting ready for Dark Souls 3 to eventually come, and they do that by shadow dropping or just announcing Dark Souls 2 sometime in the distant future or near future, hopefully in this year in 2024. I would love to see that happen, and that's another one that's kind of on the coin toss, you could take it or leave it conversation, but I would certainly love to see it show up. And then the big show closer for this event, I think there might not be any other better venue than this to finally learn the release date of Hollow Knight Silksong, find out when we can play this game, find out when pre-orders go live, all that good stuff. and let's get it out there with a concrete release date that hopefully they stick to, and it's out this year. It's playable. I hope that that is indeed the case that we see happen here, and I think that Silksong has become such an elusive, talked about game at this point in time that gamers are just more than ready to see in terms of its finished product and ultimate launch, that this could be a very smart way to close out a mini partner showcase and leave it on a very high note. I hope that it shows up here. I think it's time that we learn about the release date. We know they've had development issues, tons of delays around this game, but it's 2024 and we've been talking about this game for years, so maybe this is finally the event that people can stop predicting Silksong to show up with the release date and it will actually happen. But that's kind of where I'm going to end my predictions. There's a ton of different stuff on the table with a third-party mini partner direct. Obviously, as Nintendo fans, we don't get near as hyped for these as you do for a mainline direct, but I am personally a little bit more excited because it leads that much more credence into the rumors that March may indeed be the month we're talking about next-gen hardware with an official reveal from Nintendo, and we might even see some new first-party games at that preview event or reveal trailer, whatever it is. So that's really why I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your personal thoughts and opinions on this direct partner showcase. If we do indeed see it announced later today or just shadow drop tomorrow, if this is what we see, are you going to be like me and be just a little bit more hyped that it leads that much more credence to the rumors of Nintendo Switch 2 being revealed, and maybe that's why we have to wait on first party games being shown off right now? Or are you somebody who's just ready to see what's next from Nintendo regardless, and you really hope that maybe they're just throwing us a curveball here and we might still see some kind of mainline direct announced in March without a hardware reveal? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before we leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch the video on screen next if you haven't already. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.